This meeting is being held in compliance with the Brown Act. SCAG offices are open for members of the public to attend and participate in person. Instructions for providing public comment have been provided in advance and are also included in the agenda packet. If a member of this body is attending remotely but is not at a location specified on the agenda, they may observe and comment as a member of the public, but may not participate in any member discussion or voting of this body. For all members participating remotely, please ensure your microphone is muted when not in use. Please state your name during deliberations and whether making a motion or offering a second. Any voting member or member of the public calling into this meeting by telephone can press *6 to mute and unmute. All telephone participants should identify themselves prior to speaking. SCAG encourages all members of the public to participate in its meetings. We are committed to holding meetings accessible to people with disabilities. For members of the public requiring ADA accommodation, please call 213-630-1410. SCAG offers free interpretation services for members of the public needing information in another language. Please call 213-236-1895. The meeting will now begin.
It's always something. Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. It's Thursday, July 2nd, 2026, and this is the Energy and Environment Committee for SCAG. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at this time. As a reminder, if a member of this body is attending remotely but not at a specified location on the agenda, they may observe and comment as a member of the public, but may not participate in any member discussion of the voting for this body. And so with that, we're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to ask Member Dawson if she would lead us in the pledge.
Thank you. And wish our nation a happy 250th
Yes.
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hoorah.
Yeah, 250 years. Wow. We have a huge responsibility and we can do some of it right here today. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and ask the clerk, do we have a quorum today?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we do.
Thank you very much for that. And off to public comment. We'll open it up for general public comment period of the meeting. This is the time for members of the public to offer a comment on matters that are within SCAG's jurisdiction, but not listed on the agenda. That will come to at the time of the agenda item. Do we have any written public comments today or before the deadline of yesterday at 5 p.m.?
No, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. I don't see any public comment for this, so thank you for that. We'll move on. And if we see, there, we're going to be moving on to the agenda. So is there any, in order to save time, if anybody wants to pull anything from the consent agenda, we'll ask if staff can present prior to moving the consent agenda. Yes. Okay. Or you'll move the consent. Okay, so we have a move by Taji, is that correct? Taji, and do we have a second on the consent?
Second.
We have a second from Dawson. Roll call, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Anna Beltran?
Yes.
Thank you. Art Bishop? Art Bishop? Daniel Brotman? Martha Cardenas Singh?
Yes.
Ed Chen?
Yes.
Margaret Clark?
Yes.
Jenny Crosswhite?
Yes.
Rick Dennison,
Dennison, yes.
Victoria Garcia. Victoria Garcia, Sherry Horn,
Horn, aye.
Britt Huff.
Britt Huff here, yes.
Thank you. I just want to note that was for the consent calendar.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I apologize. Victoria Garcia is a yes.
Brian Joes,
Just real quick. can you
Brian Joseph,
check the
aye.
screen?
Chino Hills.
I got you. Stephen Leash, Elaine Litzer, Patricia Lockdawson,
Aye.
Yasmin Imani McMorrin,
McMorrin, yes.
Ramos.
Ramos, yes.
Thank you. Suli Saro, Patty Senecal, Jennifer Stark.
Can you hear it?
Yes. Stark, yes.
Stark, thank you. Ali Taj.
Yes.
Tamala Takahashi,
Yes.
Connor Trout,
Yes.
Stephanie Bergen,
Yes.
Dale Welty.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, the consent calendar passes with 19 yeses, 0 nos, and 0 abstentions.
All right, well, thank you very much for that. I'm glad to see that we have so many people also in attendance online today. We're going to move on to our action items. Today, our first item is agenda item number 4, release of draft transportation conformity analysis of the draft of 2027 Federal Transportation Improvement Program, or we call it FTIP, and draft Connect SoCal 2024 Amendment 2. And the presenter will be Ryan Bennels, Regional Planner. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan.
There we go.
Is this on? Okay.
All right. Good morning, Chair Dennison, committee members. My name is Ryan Banuelos, Senior Regional Planner with SCAG's Air Quality and Conformity Program. And today, staff is seeking action from this committee to recommend that the Regional Council authorize release of the draft conformity analyses for public review. Your recommendation, along with Regional Council's action today, supports 2 critical regional transportation activities that include more than 1,800 transportation projects across the 6-county region. I'd like to begin with 2 key takeaways about this action. First, this action fulfills SCAG's federal regulatory requirement under the Clean Air Act. And second, the action before you today is not final. Rather, it's an important procedural step to initiate the public process for SCAG's transportation activities. As background, in its role as the Metropolitan Planning Organization, SCAG develops the Federal Transportation Improvement Program, or FTIP, and the Regional Transportation Plan Sustainable Community Strategy, or RTPSCS, also known as Connect SoCal. And those documents and amendments must demonstrate positive transportation conformity and receive federal approval. So as discussed at last month's EEC, transportation conformity is a set of consistency checks to ensure that SCAG's transportation activities support federal air quality goals. Also noted by my colleague last month, transportation conformity is a set of also noted by my colleague last month, the regulatory environment is becoming more complex and includes near-term conformity challenges. However, those challenges are not affecting SCAG's transportation activities this year, namely the 2027 FTIP and Connect SoCal 2024 Amendment 2. Accordingly, over the past several months, staff has proceeded with and then completed preparation of the federally required transportation conformity analyses for these 2 transportation activities. The draft analyses demonstrate a positive conformity result by meeting all 5 of the required federal transportation conformity tests. Those 5 tests cover the core areas that federal regulations require SCAG to address. They confirm consistency with the adopted Connect SoCal 2024 as amended. They include a regional emissions analysis. They showcase timely implementation of transportation control measures. They demonstrate financial constraint and reflect that the analyses are done through the interagency consultation public involvement process. Key point for today is that those draft analyses demonstrate compliance across all 5 tests. Awesome.
Right.
keeps the 2027 FTIP and Amendment 2 on schedule for a fall adoption and subsequent federal approval.
Can you go,
After the public review period
would you
closes
mind
in
going, sit there and make sure that they're using the mic?
After public August, staff will prepare the final documents and return to the committee and regional council for adoption in September of 2026. Federal approval is expected in December of 2026, after which those 1,800 projects can move forward toward implementation. So in closing, staff today is seeking EC support to recommend that the regional council at its meeting authorize the release of the draft conformity analyses for public review, showing that the draft 2027 FTIP and draft Connect SoCal 2024 Amendment 2 meet federal transportation conformity requirements. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for the presentation, Ryan. Yeah, very important information that we need to keep moving forward. We'll start off with any public comment on this item. Seeing none, we'll move it back to the committee, and I see Margaret Clark with her sign up. Please, Margaret.
Okay, I have a question as to, I would assume this has overall, we want people to move faster and clean energy, clean transportation, things like that. In endorsing this, though, does it include all projects that might be controversial? Because in my city of Rosemead, we are the San Gabriel Valley COG forward plan with Metro is trying to take one lane of traffic both ways to make it bus only. And we're very much concerned about that because there's already, it's over, very congested anyway, and it would just cause so much trouble. There's a lot of things. So we have, 10 years ago, we unanimously turned this down, the money that they were going to give. And now we are unanimously have serious concerns on this. So, and I've noticed that even the city of Burbank is being sued over this kind of thing where they want to take the lanes. And so Metro, I never knew this, but Metro has eminent domain over cities and whatever. So the reason I'm bringing this up is in endorsing this, we're not saying all projects are wonderful, so we're giving, and I don't want to be able to say, well, SCAG endorsed this, so it must be okay. Yeah.
Thank you. I can't speak necessarily to Metro's eminent domain question, but overall, today's action is more of a procedural step. So it's more about releasing the transportation conformity analyses that are included within the 2027 FTIP and Amendment 2 documents for public review. So during that public review process, everyone will have a chance to comment, review the projects, and then you can see whether or not you would like to provide any feedback during that public review time.
Okay, so it's not just taking all projects and saying this is fine because what?
Yeah, this would not be any sort of like approval. It's more procedural step
Thank you.
along the process. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for your questions. We have Member Bishop online requesting to speak. You may be muted. Check your microphone. Member Bishop, do you hear us?
Member Bishop, you are unmuted. Can you hear us?
He has his thumb up.
Member Bishop, if you can hear us, can you give us a thumbs up? Okay. Please proceed with your with your comment, please.
We'll come back. All right, we'll be standing by, Member Bishop. We still have some communication problems. Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none. Ryan, will you be here for a little bit in case there's a follow-up?
I'll be here.
Okay, great. Thank you. So as we move through those technicalities, we'll move on to our next agenda item. Right now, we're going to go to
That's an action item.
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is. Okay, Dawson moves the item and Ramos seconds the item. A roll call on it, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Anna Beltran?
I'm sorry,
Yes.
before we continue with the vote, just I wanted to give Member Bishop one opportunity to see if his sound's working before we take
see
final
him
action
now.
on this item.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have a question. It says information only, no action required.
No, this is an action item, number 4, item number 4. It's the only one we have today, so I apologize on that.
Just to confirm that it's a audio for Mr. Bishop and not generally, could one of the other members who's participating remotely just unmute and speak really quick so we can ensure the audio is working?
Hi, Brian Jones, Chino Hills. You're loud and clear.
Thank you.
Oops. Yeah, Member Bishop. So what we'll do is I'm going to go ahead and get your contact information to Ryan, the presenter, after the meeting, and we'll have you two have further discussion on the item. And if there is something, we can bring it back. Thank you.
Oh.
Okay,
Mr.
continue
Chair.
with the vote.
I'll proceed with the vote. Okay. Anna Beltran?
Yes.
Archbishop, I know we can't hear you, but if you want to give a thumbs up. Okay.
Oh.
Daniel Brotman? Martha Cardina Singh?
Yes.
Ed Chen?
Yes.
Margaret Clark?
Yes.
Jenny Crosswhite?
Yes.
Rick Dennison?
Dennison, yes.
Victoria Garcia? Victoria Garcia? Sherry Horn?
Horn, I.
Britt Huff?
Huff, yes.
Okay.
The SCAG room is muted for some reason, so Sunzen, we can't hear you.
It's on their end as well.
Oh, okay, because I don't see a hand coming up, or I don't see.
We can hear you, Art, in your room.
Oh, okay, you can hear us. Perfect.
Copy.
Oh, okay, excellent.
We can hear Art now, but we can't hear SCAG room.
Okay, can anybody give me a thumbs up that you can hear that I'm calling roll call? Anyone online? Okay, okay.
Yep,
Right.
hear you.
Okay,
We'll
so
finish with the vote, and if there's someone that doesn't communicate, we'll follow up on that
Okay.
one.
All right, so last one, I'll Yasmin Imani McMorrin, if you wouldn't mind just redoing, letting me know your vote.
McMorrin, yes, there was a period of time we could not hear you all, but you're back. Thanks.
Daniel Ramos,
Yes.
Patty Senecal, Jennifer Stark,
Stark, yes.
thank you. Ali Taj. Tamala Takahashi,
Yes.
Connor Trout,
Yes.
Stephanie Vergen,
Yes.
Dale Welty. Dale Welty?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, with that, Mr. Chair, the motion for the item passes with.
Madam Clerk, I think
Yes.
you might have missed me.
Sure.
Sorrow is an I for Long Beach.
Sarah, okay. Member Sarah, are you at a notice location? I have.
I'm right here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did.
She came a little late.
I came a little late due to traffic.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. With that, Mr. Chair, the item passes with 19 votes yes, 0 no's, and 0 abstentions.
Thank you for working through that with us. We appreciate everyone's patience as we work through the technological issues today. And thank you for joining us in person. Very nice. And we will move on now. So now onto the information items. The first one's going to be our EEC outlook and future agenda items. And Ryan will be presenting. Oh, there he's already up front. There you go.
Good morning, everyone. Ryan Wolf, Manager of Sustainable and Resilient Development here at SCAG. Happy new fiscal year. You will not mistake the fireworks for a celebration of this in the next couple of days. Nevertheless, we are very excited to kind of share with you a very packed year in this committee. You can take a look at your staff report for a full recap of the items we have on tap. But we have a very packed agenda. You'll see is our cycle is really picking up for Connect SoCal. So you'll see a lot of items on there in the coming months for policies, strategies, different aspects of the environmental impact review process. And then you also see a lot of other projects that are advancing along related to resilience and a number of other items. So for example, you'll see our continued work on a regional resilience framework. We have quick guides coming up, which will focus on a variety of different plans and helping jurisdictions understand what are the best practices for those, what types of resources are available. We also will be launching our Clean and Resilient Utility Infrastructure Study in the coming months. This will be looking at essentially as a region, to what extent do we understand planning for utilities to support infill growth, to support commercial development, to support industrial, all of these various things, especially as we're going through electrification of our building and transportation industry. We're experiencing weather events such as extreme precipitation. What is this current state of our infrastructure? And then moving forward, what do we need to invest in effectively over the next 10, 20 years to accommodate growth and to make sure we're as resilient a region as possible? Moving into the latter stages of this year, we'll also talk about some key aspects of our Connect SoCal, such as green region resource areas. And this is looking at what types of habitats, what types of high environmental value areas, also what types of hazards are present in our region that we want to grow outside of those as much as possible, grow outside of those hazard zones, and then grow in a way which is resilient as possible. Then moving into January of next year, again, you'll see a lot more related to Connect SoCal as we get closer and closer to the meat of the cycle. We'll have some more transportation conformity challenges. We'll come back on that, as you just heard. We'll have our SCAG adaptation planning guide update. And then we'll also hear some more aspirational items, such as Caltech solar or orbital solar. This was something that Lucy Dunn, before she departed, asked us to bring forward. And so we're planning on having a panel from Caltech come and talk with you here on some of the early stage technology in terms of releasing solar arrays in space and how they're potentially, maybe decades down the road, we could potentially have an opportunity to beam that to receptors here, and that could increase our grid resilience. And then as we get later into the fiscal year, we'll come back with some more updates on some key studies. So our Clean and Resilient Utility Infrastructure Study will be advanced at that point. We will also be wrapping up our Natural and Agricultural Economic Land Study. Essentially, this is looking at what role do natural and ag lands play in our regional economy as well as our resilience. In terms of the process for this, of course, this is not set. So all of you as committee members are welcome and encouraged to bring forward items of interest throughout the year. In the meetings, you are welcome to pull this item off the consent calendar and suggest as we go along. You're also encouraged to communicate with us in between meetings if something is that you see as coming up of interest, and then we will talk about how and where we can insert that into the calendar. Obviously, we're busy, but we want to respond really effectively to all of your interests too and your needs on a local level, because that is one of the key resources we at SCAG provide in terms of wanting to support your work as well. So with that, I'll stop, and we can happy to take any questions now. And as you dive into this maybe later and take a harder look, you're more than welcome to reach out to us as well.
Well, thank you, Ryan. So we'll go ahead and first open it up for any public comment. Any public comment? I don't see any hands. Thank you. We'll move it back to committee. And do we have any questions from the committee? Oh, I see right there. Yes. Member Sorrell.
Thank you, Chair. I do have a question about the last data center presentation we had. I thought that was very informative and interesting, but unfortunately, we ran out of time to actually be able to ask questions and have a discussion. I thought that it was a good start to present that information, but I think that as the growth in demand for data as well as AI, it'll be good if we can have more of another presentation on the status. I'm hoping maybe we'll have more study and research done given the acceleration of just the need and how the industry and how we as elected can have information to be responsive. I mean, that's just me speaking. I want to be able to provide a response with facts. And I'm trying to sort through these study and I'm not I'm not I like to be an academic. That would be nice, but I don't to be able to pull out the information I need to be able to respond to residents or other people who might have concern around this. So shortly put, my request is that we can come back earlier in the year, maybe January, February with another presentation. I don't have a specific one in mind, but it'd be great if we can have a discussion or time for it. Thank you very much.
Sure, yeah, we can absolutely do that. There's a number of aspects that we could come back with. We were kind of discussing internally the potential of bringing some of the planning staff from Santa Clara in. They've been dealing with data centers a lot longer than a lot of our jurisdictions, and so they have some good, they've really focused on the kind of the land use aspect of it as well. So we could certainly do that, but we can dive back into any of the things we heard in the last in terms of water or electricity use. So we can bring back some ideas for you and kind of see to what extent you'd like to focus on any of those individually.
That would be great. And actually, you brought up a good point is being able to talk about data centers that are in development in some of our region, like even in Coachella Valley right now. So maybe there'll be more information about just on my end, my interest is how do we be able to respond to these kind of concern and question with some facts, right? So we can have some handy overview fact sheet rather than if it's possible, right, rather than a large study that we have to break down. Thank you. Thank you, Chair, for allowing me to entertain this subject.
Absolutely, Member Sorrow. I think that's something that if we can get a message and a platform that all of us could share in unison, that would definitely help a lot of the concerns that many people in neighborhoods have. So thank you for that. We'll move on to Member Takahashi. I see your hand up. Floor is yours.
Great. Thank you. Good to see you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the plan. It's ambitious and I'm excited about it. Before I comment on that, I just want to briefly say also, thank you to the whole SCAG, I think, board and folks who put together the Connect SoCal subcommittee. And thank you for selecting me to be on that subcommittee as a representative from this committee. We're looking forward to that subcommittee's work and how that integrates into the plan that you just presented. So thank you for that. And then secondarily, I'm wondering where in the plan there might be an opportunity for doing a little bit more of deep dive or informational presentations here around water, particularly around advanced water recycling and desalinization. I think right now that there's a lot of a conversation around conservation and that kind of thing, which is great. But a lot of our cities don't have our own water rights, or if we do, they're limited. And in order to really find a way for us to decrease the amount of water, drinking water that we pull from the system, we need to have our own access to do that. And there's a lot of technology advancements now with water desal and for advanced water recycling. So the 2 advanced water recycling demonstration plants in Carson and Las Virgenes are doing great work. And we're looking to potentially put one up here in Burbank as well. Trying to figure out how to get that here. And then the desal projects, the technology advancements are really exciting. And there's potentially, I don't know how many here might be involved in this, but there's city collab compacts being formed for these more advanced technology desal. So I think that might be an opportunity for SCAG to support that and see if there's a way that we can all work together to reduce our drinking water pull from the Colorado River and other sources.
Yeah, we can definitely look at that and how we could fit that in.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you for your comments and questions. So Art Bishop, I see your hand up, please.
Rick, can you hear me?
Clear. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I can hear you, Art. Can you hear us?
Thank you so much. Just a quick possible future agenda item. Here in the high desert from Yucca Valley all the way to Adelanto and Napa Valley, we're having a lot of problems with being able for Southern California Edison, which is our provider, to be able to provide electric for our future growth, for our current and or future growth. And I was hoping maybe that staff can look at some type of a report back that would be able to assist us as local jurisdictions to be able to report back out to our developers What are we looking at in the time frame? But we're hearing from Edison possibly can be up to 8 years, and obviously that's not going very well within our development planning stages.
Sure. So I'm wondering if this might fall within the purview of our clean and resilient utility infrastructure study. So maybe as a next step, what we could do, Art, is share with you what the general scope will be, and you can let us know to what extent you see this as already, being maybe fully enclosed within that study, or if there's additional material which would fall outside of it. And then we can decide to what extent we would already be covering that in our 2 updates that we have planned in the next fiscal year as part of that study, or if we need to add an additional item as well.
That'd be perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Art, for your comments. Jenny Crosswhite, I see your sign up.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow back up on what Member Sauro was talking about. I feel like we just sort of scratched the surface of something that really is an emerging issue that more and more of our cities are going to be dealing with. And so in addition to the sort of raw data, are there at this point policy considerations or legislative related items on that we should be considering? Because they started to talk about some of those gaps in that presentation, but then I felt like we didn't really get to dig into that. And so I know it's a developing technology, and there's going to be technological changes as we go forward that will hopefully reduce some of the water and energy needs related to that kind of development. But it just seems like if there's things that we need to be thinking about and considering now, it would be helpful to be sort of having those conversations because they very much relate to this committee.
Yeah, I think we can definitely come back to you with a few options, and then you can let us know to what extent the direction we're going is kind of getting to your core concerns, and then we can adjust there and work to plan them out.
All right, thank you for your comments. Anyone else? Well, thank you, Ryan. That's some pretty deep dive information, and it is good to cover it, I think, in a little more detail in future meetings. Well, thank you for that part. We're going to move on to our next item, which is item number 6, and that is the vehicle to grid, or B2G, apparently it's called technology. And we will have once again, oh, hold on. Oh, we have Javier. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong name. Thank you, Javier Silva.
There you
go. Looks like you're on now.
Okay, before I start, can people online hear me? Could I get a audible?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, before I start, my name is Javier Silva. I'm Senior Regional Planner here. And I want to quickly mention that we have some special guests in the audience right now. We have some high school students from Whitney and Artesia. I mentioned them to say because I spoke to them a bit right now, and they're eager to learn what this meeting even is. So I just want to say this is their first EC. Lucky them. So if you see them after the meeting, go up to them, talk to them, and they're eager to learn about you. They want to learn about what you do, what your job is, what it feels like. So yeah, just want to mention that. And we can kick it off with, oh, yeah. I was just going to freestyle it if they weren't there.
Javier, while we're fixing that stuff, could you guys stand up and maybe just introduce yourselves briefly, please?
Don't mind if I do. Can I speak? Hi, hello everybody. My name is Omkar. I'm a student from local Artesia. So I'm actually in an internship with the city of Artesia, and we're part of the TOSTA Action program. So TOSTA Action is an important program where we educate local high schoolers on civic literacy and learning more about how policy, business, and other aspects of, local government interact with each other. So recently we talked about like the Panic of 1907 and the meatpacking industry of Chicago, and we learned about how like policies, for example, in the meatpacking industry, how we were deciding on increasing more monitoring on meatpacking industries, and how that would impact private commerce. So that's just one example. And the plan is for these high schoolers to eventually partner up with local businesses and basically government and city officials in the city of Artesia to learn more about, local government. Because in my opinion, the current generation overlooks politics too much. And I feel like in this new era of AI and data science, like you, ma'am, brought up, it's very important that our next generation learns more about what they can do and what powers they have as citizens of America and impact the nation at a national scale, if you will. So my plan here today is to learn more about, the Energy Commission and, get a lot of exposure and hopefully meet each one of you guys and hopefully connect with you on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
You can stay up there and give the presentation for Javier, okay? You're hired.
Hey guys, my name is Aditya. I'm like Omkar. I'm also a rising junior at Whitney High School, and I'm part of this internship. And I'm really eager to learn what you guys are talking about. Thank you.
Yeah, they can just give the presentation. Okay, so oh yeah, sure.
I just want to give a shout out
Yes.
to the students who are also here next door.
Member Thomas, can you use your mic? Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to the students that are also here next door and all over, and they've done just a great job to be here, coming all the way from Artesia and local school district. So just give it up for them.
Yes.
Absolutely. So they're in the different committee meetings, but we'll get to see them all unified at the RC too, I hope. So great. Welcome aboard.
So yeah, we can start. My name is Javier Silva. I'm a senior regional planner here at SCAG, and today I'm going to talk to you about vehicle to grid. Okay, so what is vehicle to grid? So vehicle to grid is a charging framework through which EVs can discharge electricity back to the grid. This is different than the current model for EV charging in the US, which is grid to vehicle. So additional EV charging frameworks to know about within this space is V2H and V2L. Bear with me with the acronyms. This just is the space. Vehicle to home is the idea where you can plug your vehicle into your home and the vehicle's energy can sort of be discharged back to the home, powering it. Vehicle to load is sort of a more common thing where you'd be able to plug in appliances, whether it's a laptop or it's a saw, into your vehicle and it would be able to power it. So these are sort of critical ideas to know within this space. So typically this is what the energy flow looks like. You have some sort of energy source, whether it's a wind turbine or solar panels, what have you. It gets fed into the grid, then typically goes to your unit or your home and it gets fed to the car. So within a V2G flow, is that flow goes from left to right. It's not left to right, right to left. It's not just left to right. So it's an interesting idea fundamentally. So what does this equipment look like? This equipment actually looks like pretty normal charging equipment, but I do want to note it is different because this equipment needs to be able to sort of manage the output of energy. It's sort of like, think about the complexity involved in sort of plugging your phone into something. Your phone's really good at taking energy, but your phone's not the best at discharging energy. So although it sort of looks the same, there are additional technology elements that you need to consider. So what does this typically look like in a home? It looks like typical charging equipment in the home. These are actual models that are sold, and you plug it in, and ideally if things are working, it'd be able to power your home, especially under time of duress, whether it's a weather emergency or what have you. It's really putting you in a position to really utilize the full potential of your EV battery. Vehicle to load, you can plug your laptop into your car if you want and charge it like that. Or you can plug a kettle in while you're camping. This is sort of a more common idea. And why is this even important? Why are these models important? They kind of speak to some of the stuff some of the members mentioned earlier. But like fundamentally, EV batteries can help balance supply and demand. They can support grid operations during system strain and emergency. I think it's like useful to consider that fundamentally EVs are like giant batteries on wheels, and something like 95% of a vehicle's lifespan is spent parked. Spent not utilized. So this sort of provides you an alternative way to sort of tap into that energy. And fundamentally, as EV adoption is growing, this could place stress on the electrical grid down the line, especially during an emergency. And during the past 2 years, respectively, global EV sales grew by 20%, so it's going to continue to grow. some preliminary studies regarding San Francisco, which does not have V2G. No one really has V2G in the US, to be honest. Sort of noted that there's a potential for 75% of transformer overloads to stop essentially using V2G, this alternative model. A study conducted in France noted that it could reduce peak loads by 6 to 9% and even save 25% of annual grid reinforcement costs. So you're cutting costs while increasing energy supply. So there's a lot of upside, but there's a lot to consider in terms of limitations because this is a really niche technology. So similar to what I mentioned earlier, V2G requires additional equipment beyond conventional one-way charging. This is bi-directional. It needs to go left to right, right to left. And it needs to safely manage that outgoing current. And additionally, just honestly, there are limited vehicle models which even possess V2G charging capabilities. I think I last checked, it was 1.5% of all EV models globally. So right now it's at an early stage of mass market adoption. And even if you do have the EV, it has V2G, you have to also consider charger certification and interoperability standards, AKA does the car you have even work with your grid provider? Because fundamentally you'd also have to establish a relationship with your provider, whether it's Edison or what have you, and you may be one of the first people to establish that sort of relationship in your area. So it's sort of consider that sort of admin friction which may be involved. I would sort of compare this charger certification and interoperability thing similar to like USB-C charging ports. You know, previously like iPhones typically had a Lightning charger. Now we're switching over to USB-C, and because it's such a niche market, the market is still figuring itself out, trying to figure out what's going to work, what's not. So this is sort of where that's at. So some examples of vehicles that have V2G capabilities. The Nissan Leaf. It's actually one of the few USA vehicles sold in the USA that has V2G capability. It's actually been doing this for quite a while. I think it officially sort of got adopted in 2024, but it might have had capabilities before that. I do want to know that bottom right image on the blue image, that is the 2026 Nissan Leaf, which just got redesigned, and I do think it looks better. Additionally, another popular vehicle is the Ford F-150 Lightning, which has V2H, V2L, aka home load. And this was actually really a big part of their marketing campaign when I was looking at the idea that you could sort of go to a construction site and power your tools. You can operate off the grid. You can be sort of self-reliant. But I do want to note a critical component of this is that in order to utilize the V2 home element, aka plugging into your home, you need the Ford Charge Station Pro. What is that? It's that box on the top right image. It says Ford on it. This is like a really important component to this because I checked this in May and I actually just checked this morning. Ford no longer sells that. So it sort of puts owners in a weird position. And more anecdotally, I was like surfing the F-150 Lightning forums, and there's a lot of folks that are trying to sort of find alternative means to sort of utilize this vehicle in a V2 home capacity. And they run into the issues if they are able to sort of hack the system, if you will. The vehicle does receive software updates. So what that does, it sort of patches those security fixes and then you got to restart. So it's sort of a proprietary element to consider within this space. And it's not specific to Ford. A lot of companies are having this proprietary element to their work. Another vehicle that has this is the Tesla Cybertruck, V2 Home, V2L, and actually it's piloting in some areas a V2G component, and it's similar to the Ford F-150. You do need specific gear to utilize this, so that's something to keep in mind. So there's a lot of upside in this space. So my sort of closer is that V2G is a promising but still emerging technology. I think there's a lot of long-term potential to improve the grid through this. And additionally, it's just like you're creating additional value from your EV battery, which 95% of the time is sitting parked. But really broad deployment is going to depend on vehicle availability and charger certification and interoperability standards. And with that, I'm done. Yeah. So we have any questions from the members here?
Exciting times with creativity and balancing our loads a little bit better. I've had I've been able to witness a lot of my friends that use the V2H with the Lightning. And then when you start to talk about non-support, that's really a loss of momentum in that space because I think there's a lot of value to get people used to it. So I'll open it up for public comment at this time. Any public comment? Seeing none, we'll move back to Member Dawson.
Hi, thank you. There's a company in my city that's manufacturing these Fords that is a vehicle to grid that goes back. It's called Vol2, VOL2U. And they have a partnership with Ford. So they are getting the Ford technology and they're doing it now. And they've got their own sort of proprietary thing on the wall, like the Ford
Right,
thing,
right,
but
right.
it's they're doing it. So just check it out.
Okay.
They're the only heavy duty electric truck right now that's available. They're doing F-350s, which is a big deal,
Right.
and they're electric. So anyway, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for the comment. Member Clark, do you have a question for the speaker?
Yes, so do you get paid for sending electricity back to the grid?
Great question. Yeah, so that's sort of a part of the agreement which you would establish with your energy provider is setting up a sort of payment system. How much do you get paid when you send energy back to the grid? At what times are you sending it? But yeah, you potentially would.
Okay, and then you're storing it in your battery.
Yes.
And then what if you get an emergency, you got to drive somewhere and you've used it all?
Yeah.
You've given it all back or whatever. What?
I mean, I think the onus would sort of be on the owner or the sort of the vehicle manufacturer to ensure that sort of isn't the situation. Yeah, that's like truly, that's like one of the questions that I think early adopters would have is how do I ensure that I don't get stranded? That's a great question.
Okay, and my first thought when I read this, because this is really interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Is if you're taking power from the grid into your battery and then you're giving it back, are people, if so many people did this, are we using more or actually not giving it back? Let's say they're using it for other things. Are we draining the grid?
No, ideally it would sort of support the grid. These sort of, I think you could think of these EV batteries as sort of additional storage. It's like additional
Yeah.
water jugs.
Right.
So we wouldn't actively, with this system potentially, it wouldn't be just constantly taking. It's just extra storage, truly. We're tapping extra storage potential.
But what, would there be a limit on how much you could give back to the grid?
Who knows? That'd be sort of up to the provider and the vehicle manufacturer. These are sort of the early questions that early adopters have to deal with. And those are great questions. I had the same questions during research, and it truly depends. It's like the overall answer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Member Sorrow, please.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. I think it's just really interesting to expand ways to be able to have, I think, access to energy that's beyond maybe at a higher level than a battery pack, right?
Yeah.
But I was just wondering around range and cost comparative as far as what's the additional cost to being able to do these? Is it V2G and yeah.
Yeah, so I think because it is sort of this emerging early technology, there would absolutely be additional costs because you would have to get equipment that could even support this type of work. And because it's an early technology, there's not going to be many providers doing that. And sort of similar to other technologies, the more mass spread adoption there is, the lower the cost. So early on, there'd definitely be more cost. Yeah, there would.
What's the range, do you know?
The range, I mean, it would truly depend on whatever the electric vehicle manufacturer decides what the range is, you know? Yeah, it truly depends on each manufacturer. And that's sort of like the Wild West element of this. It's early days. It's up to the manufacturers to see what's going to work, what's not. And that'll, I think, that how quickly things like that get standardized are, I think, going to determine how quickly things are adopted, in my opinion.
All right, thank you for the comments there. And we'll go first to Member Garcia, Victoria Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
Very good.
Perfect, thank you. When this is being done by individual homeowners, are they making, like calling up their electricity provider and making that deal on their own? Or are cities entering into agreements with electricity providers for like standardized rates or process?
Now, it'd probably be a bit of both. Like, you may be sitting in a market where you are probably one of the first residents to tap this. So it may be as simple as you calling up Edison. Maybe you're in an area where this is a more common idea. You could sort of tack yourself onto a larger group, whether it's a city or a local group. But a bit of both. It's truly early days. This is a really emerging technology.
Okay, great. And then, so then maybe we will reach out to our provider and see, get some more personalized information. My second question was, I saw on page 38 of the agenda packet, there's a vehicle to grid, vehicle to home, and vehicle to load. Does that mean you can do maybe a vehicle to home or vehicle to load, without, without an electricity provider? Is that if it says vehicle sends power to home building? Is the owner doing that by themselves without using
Yeah.
the product?
The vehicle to home component would sort of be less reliant on your energy provider. That would be sort of a relationship between your home and your vehicle. That would be sort of more sort of like off-grid component oriented. And vehicle to load would also be a more personal thing between the vehicle and the appliance. So those are sort of more off-grid than the vehicle to grid, which is innately communicating with the larger electrical grid.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Member Takahashi?
Yes, thank you. Excellent presentation. I'm very excited about this technology. I want it in my city today. Like, can we just convert all of our EV chargers? Then actually, that's my question. So in Burbank, we have quite an extensive EV charger network. We have both public and private and also home chargers throughout our city. It's very extensive. So we're already pretty established in the, I guess, now is traditional EV charger system. And but we also are always looking for opportunities to pilot new programs and try new things out. So if we wanted to integrate one of these services into our system, where would we even start? Where would we go? How would we potentially get this kind of up and running in our city to be able to try it out? And we also have our own utility. We have Burbank Water and Power. So we do have a little bit more flexibility in that way. So any thoughts on how to move forward in an already established and integrated system that exists?
So I think the component which you do have control over would be sort of approaching your electricity provider and sort of just checking to see if they are doing any type of work in this space. Like, do they have agreements in place? Have they done this before? Are they planning to do it? I think that would be something within your control. The thing sort of outside your control is dependent on the vehicle manufacturers. Like, you can't really control what Ford's going to do. You can't control what Tesla's going to do. But the component you would have more control is speaking to your provider and seeing what the situation is.
Okay. And if they don't have it up and running and going, I actually, as you were doing the presentation, I emailed them to ask if we had that going on. What would be the next step? They probably, I mean, they're the experts, so I'm sure that they would know the next step. But as a policymaker, as somebody who's making a decision, who's a lay person in most regards in this area, what would be a potential next step for a city at the policy level or at approach level potentially to get this started? Are you suggesting perhaps it is a manufacturer approach first, or is there a technology company approach somewhere, or what would be the first step for us?
The vehicle component, and then there's the regulatory component. And I think the part we have a bit more control over is sort of ensuring that these providers have sort of agreements in place if a resident wants to engage with this technology, because it's kind of intimidating if you're the first resident ever to call up Edison and explain this thing. Like, imagine even getting on the phone with Edison, like, and explaining. The thing that you don't have control over is sort of the vehicle component. So I would, based off my research, and this is super emerging technology, things are only in pilot stage, is checking to see if your provider, are you guys planning to do a pilot? Do you want to do a pilot? Do you have any interest in doing a pilot?
Okay, thank you.
Great. Any other member comments or questions? All right, seeing none, thank you very much, Javier. I appreciate the presentation. It was certainly a lot of futuristic things that we don't really have all the answers to yet. So we'll have to keep it on mind. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move forward to our final item is number 7. And this has been a long road to get here, is our SoCal Green Print completion and launch. Ryan.
Good morning again. So we're here today to provide you an update on the SoCal Green Print. First thing to note is that we did launch the tool in early June, so it is now available to sign up and to utilize. I will go ahead and provide an overview of the process and where we are, and then we're going to provide you a short demo of the tool so you can just get an understanding of what it looks like, generally what the feel of the tool and functionality is. We do have a Toolbox Tuesday coming up on September 15th from 12:30 to 2:30. So anyone is welcome to join that. And that'll go into a more in-depth overview of it, as well as different ways you can potentially use the tool. And just note that that will be recorded as well. So you don't have to be available during that time frame, but it'll be up afterwards as a resource. And you're more than welcome to reach out to us with any questions as well. So I know not everyone here has probably been involved in the green print. For those of you who are maybe newer, you probably haven't been exposed to it as much. The SoCal Green Print is an online tool of publicly available data, and it's intended to really help cities, counties, and transportation agencies to make land use and transportation decisions, as well as conserve natural and farmlands. It is also a tool to support regional advanced mitigation efforts. If you are not familiar with what RAMP is, you're not alone. It is really a process to help streamline and reduce costs for transportation projects, and also basically do mitigation for them. So in this, typically what oftentimes happens is you're going through a process of planning a transportation project. You may get later on in the process and realize there needs to be some environmental mitigation. At that time, it can actually become costlier and actually cost you time as well. And so a RAMP process can help you identify strategically much earlier on what types of impacts a potential transportation project or a program of transportation projects would have, and then identify those mitigation opportunities and do it in a fashion which is more strategic and effective. So as opposed to doing potentially isolated mitigation, where you may be setting aside park space or some habitat which is isolated from a greater system, such as a watershed or a larger network of lands that has biodiversity, you can identify those opportunities earlier on and essentially save money and save time. So we also at SCAG have a RAMP initiative, and in line with a lot of our work, it's really an effort to help establish or supplement or complement regional conservation and mitigation banks. It's entirely voluntary, and we provide a range of policy efforts, the SoCal Green Print tool, and other things to really kind of just help advance those along and help ease participation, knowledge of them along the way. The SoCal Green Print and RAMP was really kind of established as part of a previous Connect SoCal process, so back in 2020, and we have been working on it since then. So there's a variety of potential uses for green print, but of core emphasis, as I mentioned, you can identify areas of high ecological resource value for establishment of RAMP programs or for participating in RAMP programs. So if you know your transportation project is potentially going to impact a certain type of habitat, you can identify other opportunities to mitigation in that. And this can be in support of things like mitigation banks, conservation banks, which they've already identified high priority lands for conservation. And so as opposed to just going off and doing an isolated mitigation effort, you can actually jump into the stream of these coordinated efforts and more effectively do conservation, while at the same time streamlining the process for your transportation project. Another component which we heard throughout our public process for this was that this data could be really useful for jurisdictions as they were pursuing grant opportunities. So as an example, a lot of our greenhouse gas reduction fund programs, the Cap and Invest program, as it's now called, they ask for, are you classified as a disadvantaged community? Do you have certain environmental conditions in place that would be priorities for reducing greenhouse gases and providing other co-benefits? And so this data can actually really support those applications because historically this data and these data layers have been kind of spread out, and you need a lot of technical capacity, you need to know where to find them, all of these types of things. And so in this case, what the tool does is it really collates all of these layers together so that you are able to find them in one place. And this is a good resource for folks who don't have GIS experts or don't have, consultants to actually go after and really do a lot of this work. It makes it much more accessible for a lot of different stakeholders. So in terms of the timeline for the SoCal Green Print development, as Chair Dennison mentioned, it's been a process, and we've now finished the tool, but it stretches far back, including February 2023, when we adopted the ramp policy framework, and this kind of set the parameters of what SCAG's ramp initiative is, as well as some of the key components of Greenprint. And then October of 2023, we formed something called the Greenprint Technical Advisory Committee. Some folks on this committee participated in that, notably Member Crosswhite. And basically, over several months, we convened multiple meetings. And during that time, it included elected officials, agency representatives, a member of the business community, and a member of the environmental community. And essentially, what we did is talk about how do we construct data standards and performance standards that would really make sure that the data and the tool was as trustworthy as possible, use the best data, all of those types of things. And then moving forward into early 2024, as a result of that feedback, we brought forth the data standards to the regional council in the EEC before that, and essentially those were approved. And since then, we've been working towards developing the tool. So then moving into March of this year, as we had a prototype of the tool, we wanted to do beta testing. So once again, we went back to the members of the Greenprint Technical Advisory Committee. We wanted that continuity of folks who had provided input and then could also do the testing of the tool. And so users from the committee and other users who stepped up essentially jumped online with us. We walked them through the tool, and then they went through a series of steps on their own to test the tool, to use it. And they provided a lot of feedback, mostly on user functionality, ease of access, understanding it, communicating the purposes of the tool. And then we incorporated all of that input and moved towards launch in June. And then, of course, as I mentioned, in September, we'll have the Toolbox Tuesday, and that will be an opportunity for people to jump into more of the in-depth tool. So just really quickly going over the Greenprint data standards, this is not referencing each and every one of them, but some of the key components that are in the data standards is that it's really intended to be a strategic web-based conservation tool. It uses publicly available data. So all of this data you can access in other means. It's not hidden behind a paywall. It's not buried deep in an academic study. It is something that you can already access. We're just pulling it all together into this tool. It is using data that has been used or sponsored by government agencies. So we wanted to make sure that this was the data that was really trusted, vetted. The data is not altered, so we're using it directly from the source. We're not processing it in any way. And then we also wanted to make sure it was really transparent where the data came from, when it's updated, all of those types of things. So it has metadata on who authored it, who's responsible for it, at what level is it accurate from a geographic perspective, when it's updated, all of those things. And then, of course, we also wanted to make sure that users understood very clearly what it's for. This is an informational tool. And so when you go onto the tool, there's a disclaimer on there, which we arrived at this language through the GTAC process. And essentially, it says that this tool is for informational purposes. And of course, we defer to other more localized sources of data as well. So this is really kind of like a pre-planning tool. It's not the ultimate end, and it doesn't not a replacement for a true environmental process. And then lastly, we shared the 106 data layers with the regional council as part of the data standards. So a couple ones just to point that it's a lot of data layers, 106. So we wanted to organize those into some straightforward thematic areas. So you can see those on the right, and that provides a user guidance of what they're looking for when they get into the tool. And then the other thing is, having a tool like this is very critical that we both maintain and update it really well. And so on the maintenance side of it, just know that all the data layers in the tool update automatically when the agency that creates those data layers update it. So we essentially have the tool talking to those agencies, and when they update that data, it'll come directly into the tool. So that is a key thing, and that data will be maintained ongoing. So in addition to the software itself doing that, we have our consultant Arup, which is also checking in and making sure that it's being updated so you can trust when you go into the tool that the data is the most current available. The second component, which we're calling the update, would be if we're going to add any additional data layers, we would first, as staff, take a look at those, see if they belong in the tool, see if they align with the intended uses of it. We would take a look at the quality. Does it meet all of the requirements of the data standards? And then at that point in time, we would put that in a package. We would come back to you to share this with you so you would have an opportunity to provide any input before we would do an update on that. So that's just really critical. We want to understand that we put in place really strong safeguards to make sure it has the best quality trusted data. And then if we're going to make any changes, we want to make sure it's really transparent what would potentially be updated. So we're going to do a demonstration now. Our consultant Arab is online and is going to jump into the tool and just provide you a really quick overview. And then after that, we can take any questions.
Hello. I hope that you guys can see the screen here.
You're on online,
right? Good.
Yes, we can hear you and see it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So yeah, my name is Eric. I'm here from Arab, and yeah, we worked in collaboration with the Southern California Association of Governments to develop this green print tool. And so I'm going to just give a quick demo and give you guys a tour through the tool. So when you first visit the website, you will be hit with this click wrap page here with the disclaimer text that Ryan was talking about. There's also some links to SCAG's website about the Regional Advanced Mitigation Planning and green print, and then also a link to our user guide. And once you've read through this and agreed to the terms of service, you can click there and access the tool. So the first initial page you're brought to is our main mapping page here, and you can see a map here of Southern California. To the right here, we have a list of layers, and you can come in here and find the different things you're interested in and start to combine them together to kind of build a map that gives you the information you're kind of looking for. So as an example here, I'm going to start by just turning on like the building climate zones layer as an example, and you can see that those building zones appear on the map, and you can click into them and see additional information about them. And to just kind of continue building things out, so let's add some environmental justice layers here. Let's bring in the priority equity communities and the disadvantaged communities, and you can see that those parcels populate on the map here. So we're kind of building out something that's going to help us, make better decisions and understand the different land use and parcels that we have here. I'm going to put just a couple more layers on, some vulnerability layers here. Cool. So we got the fault traces now and the liquefaction zones. You can see we're kind of starting to build something here that's going to tell a story and give us information and things that we're looking for. And so on the map itself, there's a couple of features to kind of highlight here. In the bottom left-hand corner, there's a legend. So you can click this to kind of get information about what each of these different colors and symbols represents. We also have a selection tool. You can use like a rectangle or a lasso selection to highlight certain areas of the map. We also have a measuring tool here that can be used to see, distance. You can see how many miles are between 2 points, for example. And then also, if you're interested in getting more information about the layers that you've selected in kind of like a tabular data format, you can click this arrow at the bottom of the map to pull up this table widget here, which can be resized if you're interested in that. And you can each layer that you've selected becomes a sheet essentially in this table here. And then when you're done with that, you can click this arrow to hide that. This menu on the right with the layers can also be hidden with this arrow if you want to get a full screen view of the map. Before I move on to talking about some of these other buttons and features we have here, I'm going to jump over to the browse page to show you how you can get more information about each of the layers that you're looking at. So here we have all of our data sets listed into these different categories, and we provide some information. And this information is all just the metadata that was provided by the original source. We don't modify this, we're just displaying it here to make it easier for people to find that. So for example, if you want to find out about some of the habitat and biodiversity layers, you can click into this category. And then at the top here, we have a list of all the different habitat and biodiversity layers involved in the tool. So you can come in here and click on them and see some different information. For example, the coverage. So this layer has full coverage of the SCAG region. You can see the source, who put this together, what year it was compiled, the date last modified. And so, provided that the maintainers of the layer have updated all this metadata, it will be populated here when you come to browse through all the different layers in the tool. So I'm going to jump back to the visualize page here and show some of these other features we have. So starting with sharing the map. So once you've built a map that you're happy with and you want to share that with other people, you can come in here. And there's two different ways you can share the map. One of them is a PDF export, and another one would be through just like a web link. And so if you want to generate a PDF, you can come in here and you can click this arrow to open up some of the advanced options as well. But we can just kind of name our map. So I'm going to just call this My Map 2026. And I'm going to add myself as an author and include the legend and include the attributes and click print. And then it will take a few seconds to load, but your map PDF will then appear in this results tab here. So while we're waiting for that to load, I'll show how you can also share your map using a link. So if you click this link button here at the top, and you make sure you have this include URL parameters option checked here, that will generate a link which can be shared with somebody to take them to the exact map that you put together. So for example, like if I were to send that to somebody and they were to click it and load it up after signing into the tool, they would be brought to a page where, yeah, as you can see, it shows the map that you had created and zoomed in kind of in the same way as well. So yeah, our PDF here has loaded, and yeah, you can see that just in the same zoom extent and layers that we had selected are now shown here, and you can save this PDF and share this with other people. And at the bottom, it includes some of the legend information and scale bar and the disclaimer text as well here. Another thing you can do is change the base map if you want to just kind of aesthetically change the visuals of the map. You can go ahead and do that here. The add data button, so this will allow you to bring in additional layers if there's like a specific layer that's relevant to your project but is not included in the general listing of the Greenprint tool. You can come in here and click add data, and for example, you can add it from search, URL, and a file upload. So I'm going to demonstrate the file upload option here. So let's say we have our mobility hubs layer, which I pulled from RDP. And we'll upload that, and it will click done and add that to the tool. And worth noting here, there's some text at the bottom that kind of explains some of the file upload restrictions. There are some restrictions when it comes to uploading files to just be aware of. But yeah, so we've gone ahead and imported that mobility hubs layer, and to kind of show how that looks, I should change the base map back. It's a little bit distracting, I think. It's actually maybe worse. Okay, so yeah, so this is the layer we just brought in, mobility hubs. So you can see all those mobility hubs are now popping up on our map. And so we can combine that with everything else that we've put together to really create something that's relevant to whatever project it is that you're working on. And then lastly, we have the download data button. So this is one of the ways that you can download data from the Greenprint tool. Here we have like a list, alphabetical list of all the different layers in the tool, and two different download options, JSON and GeoJSON. So you can select the file type you're interested in, and then pick out a couple of layers that you want to download, and then you can click this download zip button, and it will zip those layers for you and download them to your computer. Depending on the size of the layers, this can take some time, but I'm gonna just give it 1 second to see if I can demonstrate that download.
And while Eric's doing that, just note that on the data upload, that data will not remain on the tool. So that's uploaded, and then when you're done using it, it's not permanently added. It's only added while you're using it.
Great note, Brian, thanks. Yeah, that would be just for your personal session.
Oh, so there was a question in the room about is there a key or a definition of the, so essentially the layers, each of the layers have metadata on it, which will provide you information on what's displayed. It's under the Browse tab, which is one of the ones at the top. And if you go there, on the left-hand side, as he mentioned, there's the different themes where all the data layers are organized under. And if you pull those up, you can find that particular data layer, and it has a description and year updated and all that type of information.
Chair Dennison has a quick question.
Eric, I think we can stop right there and turn it over for questions.
Hey, Eric, thank you very much for the presentation. I hope everyone takes a deep dive in this. I'm kind of a fun with data person. I've been like that for years. But I see our newest member, Member Chen, if you'd like to go ahead and start us off.
Thank you, Chair Dennison. Great presentation and very exciting tool. My question is, with regards to heat resiliency and urban greening, I know West Coast Arborist, who is our city's tree trimming contractor, as well as many cities throughout Southern California, has a really impressive GIS-based tool. My city has signed up for it so that we have a public-facing website with every city tree that they maintain. So I was just wondering if that was part of the data point, or if that could also be something we can work with, not just government, but other partners that work with governments to make that data available.
In terms of incorporating that data into the tool itself.
Yeah.
So I think what we've established as a process for incorporating any data into the tool would be suggested to us, and then we would take a look at it. And first, we have to make sure that it abides by all the data standards. And so we have, I went over briefly just at a high level, but it's like, who creates the data layer? So if it's created by a public agency, generally we're starting from a good spot. Is it regularly updated? Those types of things. So we would take a look at that first. And then along with any other suggestions, we would then come back to this committee and, kind of do a summary of what layers are being suggested and solicit feedback. And then at the end of that process, assuming everything's good and everyone's really enthusiastic about this, we would go ahead and seek to incorporate it into the tool.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a great question, because we have had other presentations that depend a lot on shade. It's part of the environmental discussions that we have. So something to certainly think about in the future. Did Eric have additional, is he caught up?
I think we're good.
Okay.
If we get any deeper into it, we'll just start, becoming tech nerds, and I'm not sure
Yeah,
that all of us
I
are
agree.
at that level in here.
So thanks, Ryan.
yeah.
I'm going to open it up to public comment right now. If anyone has any comments from the public, if not, we'll bring it back to the committee or any questions yes. Member Crosswhite, please.
I just have a technical question. So if people can upload data for their own personal session, I assume there must be some sort of a, virus scan before it pulls it into the tool, or how does that, maybe this isn't a question
Eric can probably.
you might, or you might have to answer it offline, but I'm just curious in terms of security, if you're able to upload stuff onto the tool, I guess maybe a more general, I hope that there are tools in, pieces in place in the tool to block anything malicious from impacting the tool.
Sure. Eric?
Yeah, so when you upload something, it doesn't actually upload and save or store anything anywhere. It really is just loading whatever data you have onto your local browser. So it is totally localized to just your own web browser, and yeah, there's no possibility of somebody uploading something malicious and it impacting the tool or any other data that's part of the tool.
Yes, Member Sorrow, please.
Yeah, I just want to thank staff so much for all the hard work. It's taken many years to get to this point, and what an amazing tool to have. I am also concerned around how this data gets used, data have used, like tomato. What does data get, how it gets used, right? So just wondering, is it accessible to the whole public or just GAG members?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for asking that question. So right now, if you would like to access the tool, you request access.
Okay.
And so that will go to our team over at Arup, and they will review the request, and then you will receive a notification within a few days of your access to the tool. There is a limited number of users as we have it right now. It caps out around 300 users. Obviously, as we kind of move beyond these initial stages of the tool, we'll reevaluate to what extent we need to adjust that. But for right now, you would get reviewed and approved for use of
Okay.
the tool.
Is there a policy for user? I only ask this because, I like to think all developers are responsible and wouldn't want to use this in a negative way, but I can see developers kind of using this as a tool or others, right, for business purposes. So that's why I'm asking if there's some policy that guides who gets access to this data.
So anyone can apply to get
Yeah.
an account. I think where we've really put our effort into how the tool is used is the disclaimer language to ensure that it is clearly communicated when you come into the tool. You have to acknowledge it's for information only. If you download the data, that goes along with it as well. So it's clearly indicated it's for information only. So that's kind of how we address it. But in terms of how we set it up, it is designed to be broadly accessible.
Okay, thank you.
And also Margaret, please.
Yes, one of my issues with the state coming down on us on housing, they think we're the reason it's so high expensive, there's not enough housing, blah, blah. And so they pass SB 79, for example, that if you are within so many miles or whatever of a transit stop, we have to allow like 5-story buildings, and one of from an environmental standpoint, I've always said they don't even require backyards. They're not. It's really bad for the environment. So my question is, does this data take in consideration those bills that, let's say, you knew or you could find out from this map that there's an environmental, we need to preserve something, okay?
Mhm.
And that where it would show what SB 79 is interpreting, that they want, you can't stop this. And if we wanted to stop it from an environmental standpoint, is there any way this could be used on that, those issues?
So the SB 79 is not one of the data layers that's included in here.
No, I know, I would
Yeah.
assume not, but I mean, I'm just
And
saying.
the tool is just really supposed to represent the best available data on the environmental conditions that are on the ground. And
Right.
so you would essentially look at this for any development, right?
Right,
And you
okay.
would identify what is relevant to the project.
Right, so you could use this to see, oh, this is too close to this, we better oppose this because of that. I mean, not that the data would show, but I mean, you could go online and find out what the bad consequences could be.
This is not an analysis tool in that sense. This is a tool which just provides you the information so you can see what's on the ground, but there is no analysis capability in here. So in terms
Right.
of judging whether something is bad or good, that is not a capability that we built within this
Right,
tool.
but you could see where things are anyway.
You can see
Yeah,
that is
okay.
the core
Thank
intent
you.
of the tool. Yes.
Appreciate it.
All right, well, seeing no other hands raised, and I have a bunch of questions, but I'm going to save it for the toolbox day and training. So thank you very much for that, because this is true. You could kind of geek out on all this kind of information when you have that, but it is a good tool for us to see what we can consider. It's not making the decisions for us. It's
Right.
generally a tool in the toolbox. So thank you very much, Eric, for the presentation. And Ryan, anything else?
I just wanted to say, I also neglected to thank Art Bishop because he was also on the GTAC committee. So I wanted to make sure and give him a shout out as well.
Excellent. Yeah, he's always involved. Appreciate it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on. The next thing is a report that I have. And one of the things I just wanted to say is, first off, welcome to our new members. Ed Chin, thank you for participating today, showing up in person today, and we're so glad to have you on this committee. So it's always nice to have people in person. Bless you. The other one that we have now and was participating online today is Victoria Garcia, the Vice Mayor of the City of San Fernando. Hope you're still on. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
have you. A great participation today. It's part of what we do and it's how we get things right. So moving on now, talk a little bit about SCAG. We just released a new white paper, Practical Applications of AI and Big Data for Metropolitan Planning Organizations, or MPOs like ourselves. And that was part of our discussion today too. So the white paper may start to fill in some of those thoughts and give you some of the answers. It examines emerging technologies and transforming regional planning. And that's what we talk about is transformation. It also highlights real-world applications in transportation, planning, geospatial analysis, public engagement, while outlining best practices for responsible adoption. All good goals. As agencies navigate a rapidly evolving digital landscape, the report provides a roadmap for leveraging AI and big data to support smarter, more efficient, and more resilient communities. So you can visit SCAG News on the SCAG website to learn more about access to the report. So next, I think I want to say one more thing too. We had an item here that we didn't have it for discussion. And that was President Marquez's goals for the, it was item number 2 on informational items for the 26-27 year. And I hope everyone has an opportunity to look at those goals, because as our conversations go forward, that's going to be our conversations. And Vice Chair Jenny Crosswhite here is also with us, and she will be working closely with our president this year. Just our job is to try and make those goals a reality. So thank you for that. Other than that, I'm going to turn it over to staff.
Thank you, Chair Dennison. Eric Rodriguez, I am in place for my colleague Yvette Macias, who's away today. My report reads out as today, the Regional Council will discuss a new program announcement and project checklists for the Last Mile Freight Program, better known as LMFP Rebate Program. The program initially opened in October 2025 with applications submitted through January 2026. In March 2026, the SCAG Regional Council approved funding for 3 initial projects, enabling the deployment of 13 battery electric vehicles and the replacement of diesel vehicles. Building on these early efforts, SCAG is preparing to reopen the LMF rebate program in July 2026. So it's already July 2nd today. So with approximately 49 million in remaining funds available. The reopening reflects program revisions developed in coordination with the South Coast Air Quality Management District and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. 2, 1, expand vehicle eligibility, and 2, implement a rebate structure that aligns incentive amounts with vehicle size. These updates are designed to increase participation and accelerate deployment of zero-emission vehicles. For additional information, please visit our SCAG website. And that concludes my announcement for today, Chair.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that, Ryan. Appreciate it. And do we have any member comments today? Well,
Chair, I'd just like to wish everybody a safe and happy 4th of July.
oh, and I'm sorry. I think I called you Ryan, didn't I? Thank you very much. I was still actually daydreaming about green print. I honestly was in my head. So I'm sorry about that. So other than that, thank you very much for joining us today. We'll be adjourning the meeting, but first I'd like to say that we will be dark in August. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, September 3rd, 2026. Once again, 9:30 a.m. And thanks again. Have a great day. I'm sorry. Sorry. Then I got my head back out and I go, that's I was still thinking. There was, yeah. The only one that was different was Javier, and then you were new, but I appreciate that. You did a good job filling in today. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah.